There's always that part of you in the back of your head that thinks they could do it. They could actually go all the way. But not this time. And even so, I'm still incredibly proud of this Avalanche team. They did a lot of things for the first time. Many of the players on this team had never even played in a Game 7, and nearly all of the core had never played in the second round. So the Avs came a long way this season, and certainly, at least for me, blew away my expectations in the playoffs. Avs lose to the San Jose Sharks 3-2 in Game 7 to end their season.
Oh! Como has a breakaway.
Still hurts a bit knowing there's not going to be Avs hockey that matters for 5 months. There are a ton of factors, obviously, going into this game, and unfortunately, I think it kind of boiled down to the Avs just not having luck on their side. It just wasn't their year. That's no excuse. The Avs had plenty of missed opportunities and went 0 for 3 on the power play in yet another game, so they could have easily overcome what they were facing here, and they failed to do so. So let's jump into the game. The first minute and a half was fantastic. The Avs come out flying. They look like they want to put the pressure on the Sharks and to take over this game. They even draw a power play early. And 30 seconds into that power play, MacKinnon goes into the boards awkwardly, shoulder first, and is very clearly hurt. He would return about 10 minutes later game time, but he wasn't 100%, and we found out afterward he has either a grade 2 or 3 sprain, he said, and got shot up with something to numb the pain. So he clearly wasn't at 100%, meaning that entire line is playing through something. And with MacKinnon gone, the Avs just completely fell apart. They didn't do anything with that power play, and afterward the Sharks took over and quickly scored. Did I mention Joe Pavelski was back for Game 7 for the Sharks right here? Sharks do a good job along the boards here to win puck battles and keep the cycle going, working it low to high up to Brent Burns, and you can see Pavelski just goes right to his office here in the slot, sticks a stick out. Barry just gives him a little bit too much room as Burns throws a shot towards the net from the point, and when you give Pavelski too much room, he gets his stick on the puck. It gets deflected, and in it goes. Things go from bad to worse from there, as the Avs seem to be completely reeling and totally lost within this game. The Sharks look more like they're at a shoot-around than playing in a Game 7. Meanwhile, the Avs defense is back to their old ways of failing to clear the puck and losing their men, so 5 minutes later that leads to another Sharks goal. Kane is going to split two Avs forwards here and be given way too much room initially to get a shot off, but Grubauer makes a good save. The problem is the Avs aren't able to collect the rebound at all. It goes to the corner where Kane himself picks it up, and I'm sure by now you can already see the issue here. The Avs have 3 players coming down on Kane. That basically means you cannot let him get out of this corner or you're going to be in trouble. Kane recognizes the situation and sees Pavelski sneaking in behind the Avs net and just tosses it to him. And all of a sudden, Pavelski has a ton of room, and Johnson and Makar are both just floating in no man's land as they both turn back. There is a beautiful lane right up to Tomas Hertl, who is going to be right in the slot as Jost is caught up too high. Not really his fault, though. You just can't have 3 players, especially 2 of your defensemen in the corner. Hertl collects this one and fires it in past Group. The Avs left port and 2 minutes later found out there's about a 5-foot wide hole in the bottom of their ship here. Not good. So the Avs are down 2-0 early. From there, MacKinnon does eventually return, and the Avs do seem to stabilize somewhat. Grubauer plays fantastically through the rest of the first to keep it 2-0, and the Avs are still in it. Just barely. But the one thing I've learned about this team across this whole season, while they may not play a full 60 very often, the one thing they do is never quit. And with no time left in the first period, they let the Sharks know that this wasn't going to be easy for them. With less than 20 seconds to go in the period, Landeskog has a beautiful zone entry here. Not only does he get the blue line, but he works it deep into the zone and continues to hold onto the puck all the way around the back of the goal. Now you can see here, what does this do to the Sharks? It puts all 5 defenders in this one quadrant of the zone, and it has all of them watching Landeskog. So when Landeskog throws this pass up and through to Girard, he has a ton of time to collect the puck, find a shooting lane, and fire this puck on net. As he does that, you can see Rantanen has slid right in front of Jones, the perfect spots, and does his best Pavelski impression with this beautiful tip to make the lead 1. That one goal is just huge. It turns what was a pretty gruesome period and not a whole lot of hope going around into a period where the Avs were just one goal away. And then we have the second period. The second period was trouble all the way up and down for the Avs. The Sharks activate their smothering systemic play, and it is hurting the Avs badly. They end up getting outshot 13-5 by the Sharks in the period. Both teams get a power play in the first half of the second. The Avs is obviously ugly. We already knew that was coming. The Sharks wasn't actually that great, though. The Avs did put a decent PK on. The problem was they were struggling to generate offense. Grubauer continues to try and drag this team back into this game, making some fantastic saves. He just needs the offense to help him out. And then we come to this moment. Landeskog enters the offensive zone here and eventually turns the puck over. As the Sharks head back out of their own zone, you're going to see Landeskog go for a change on the bench. But as the Sharks get out of their own zone, they turn the puck over and it gets knocked back into the zone here. Landeskog is at the bench and trying to open the door to get off of the ice. The puck comes back in deep. McKinnon's going to track it down here. You're going to see Colin Wilson coming down the middle of the ice. McKinnon does a great job to find him, and Wilson does a great job to finish this, and it looks like a tie game. But it's not. This is the best angle that I've found that shows the puck actively in the zone and Landeskog on the far side trying to get off the ice and onto the bench. This was challenged for offside. It was reviewed, and based on the war room in Toronto was determined that Landeskog was offside here. I don't want to talk about this. I hate talking about things like this, but we have to. It happened and it mattered a lot in this game, so here we go. First of all, the NHL has decided that Landeskog was offside here. Now, if he's actually offside, then that's all well and good. That part of it's fine. But I still have not seen an angle showing definitively that he was offside and did not tag up along that blue line. And in the NHL's response to all of this, they still have not yet released an angle where I can definitively tell. So that's problem number one. And it almost would be better if the case was that Landeskog was in fact onside, because then the problem is it was just a blown call. That's a fairly easy fix. The bigger problem is how this rule is set up. You have a player going to the bench. He's not involved in the play in the slightest. In fact, the puck is on the completely other end of the ice from him. He has absolutely no effect on the play. Beyond this, because he's going to the bench, another player can jump on and enter the play. And by the rule book, as long as Landy is in the region of the bench, then he counts as a changing player, and therefore it's not too many men on the ice because he and the man who's changing for him is on the ice. So that's fine as a region or area play. Another example is the red line. If a defender gets close-ish to the red line before dumping the puck in, the league will not call it an icing, an area play. But you come to the blue line, and even if you're a single atom over that blue line, even if you have no effect on the play, they're going to take the goal away from you. It's just absurd. It's hard to get a perfect rulebook, but it's a lot easier to do better than this. It's very, very simple to, at minimum, change it so that a player changing to get off the ice cannot count as offside, because that's just absolutely ridiculous. The rule is broken. I think we can all pretty much agree on that. Beyond that, the challenge system isn't fun. It's bad for hockey. Yes, getting the calls right does matter, but to sit around for 5 minutes to have an exciting play completely wiped out, that's silly. With that said, if Landeskog jumps onto the bench, or someone helps him open that door a little bit quicker, he's off the ice, and this counts as a good goal. It's still incredibly dumb. I'm going to put a cap on that, and we're just not going to talk about that anymore. From there, that swings momentum to the Sharks, maybe even a bit more than it was already, and they quickly pressure the Avs hard, and instead of a 2-2 game, it becomes a 3-1 game. Burns is just going to throw a puck into the far corner here, and you're going to see the Avs mark up their men, and everyone but Landeskog does a fairly strong job here. Johnson, great job battling in front. You have Nemeth coming over and taking Couture, does very, very well, but Landeskog just gets totally burned by Donskoy, who flies behind the nets. He's well behind him here and just can't catch up as Donskoy comes out front. What the Avs probably needed here was Gabe Bourque to step down and help him out, but it just didn't end up happening. Bourque stayed high, trying to take the passing away from the defenseman, so Donskoy takes it himself, turns, and fires one up over Grube as Landy can't catch up. All playoff long, the Avs forwards just haven't quite systemically put together where they need to be, and it cost them dearly. The game meanders its way through the rest of the second period, aided by some more poor reffing and no calls that go on. Not saying there's any bias here. I don't think there is. I just think the game was, in general, poorly reffed, and that hurt the Avs. And we are 3-1 after 2. I was hoping for some karma in the third, that all of these crazy bounces and silly calls that the Sharks have got would come back on them, and the Avs would somehow find a way back into this game. And in the opening minute of the period, I thought maybe, just maybe, because they got one. A terrible clear by Burns up the boards here is kept in by Sam Girard, who finds Kerfoot for a nice opportunity from the top of the circles. Kerfoot lets the shot go and creates a nice rebound, and then a bouncing puck in front gets scrambled by the Sharks, and you can see Jost reacting and sneaking into a soft spot here. Puck comes right to him, and he just has to poke it in past Jones. For the third time in as many games, I could not think of a better guy to get a good bounce. Jost is just such a hard worker for this team, and everything is finally coming together for him in these playoffs. When I wrap this up and talk about the Avs' future, don't forget about him, because he is still a bright part of it. So the Avs make it a one-goal game, and they absolutely dominate the rest of the third. This was probably one of their best periods of the playoffs. The Sharks completely sat back and just had no answer. The Avs outshot them 15-2 in the third, but they just didn't convert their chances. They had a power play 5 minutes into the third, and it just wasn't able to get it done. And even after that, they kept pressing and had numerous chances. Kerfoot, Soderberg, I think even Landeskog had a fantastic opportunity, and none of them could beat Jones. In the final minutes with the goalie pulled, Kerfoot got an opportunity right in front. I think he got 3 whacks at it, and he just slammed them all right into Jones' pad. And that's all she wrote. Avs lose Game 7, 3-2. On the one hand, the Avs absolutely could have won this game as is if they finished some of their chances and improved their play a little bit in a few areas. On the other hand, you get a bad bounce on a deflection goal, you get a goal taken away from you, you don't get too many of the calls that you think you should have had. There were a lot of things working against the Avs here too. The reality is, it takes skill to win it all, but it takes some luck too. And the Sharks have been very lucky in these playoffs, from even before the Avs series. So, it is what it is this year. I'm incredibly proud of this team. There were many times where I thought they weren't going to make the playoffs at all. They just squeezed their way in, and then they absolutely blew me away. Making Game 7 of the second round is so much further than I had hoped for this year. And every part of the season, even the lowest, darkest points, let's face it, I keep coming back because I love it. And I love this team. So thank you, Avs, for another incredible season. And the best part is, this is only the beginning. This team is just starting to step into who they are, and they're going to continue to improve, like I've said in so many videos this year. With youngsters like Makar, players that are still youngsters like Jost and Girard, even though we don't really think about them that way, and many more coming in the pipeline. Martin Kaut, Shane Bowers, this 4th overall pick we have this year. This team looks to have a fantastic future, and I truly do believe in the coming years they will contend for cups. I just can't wait to get there. Now it's time for season-ending thank yous, and I do have quite a few of them. I already thank the Avs. For individual people, I need to thank Rebin. He is the guy who makes all of the graphics and transitions, all the cool stuff you see on this channel. That all comes from him. Need to thank Gregor Jens. He is the guy who does most of the music on this channel. The Mikko Rantanen song, the Gabe Landeskog song, even the song that is on my end screen. That was all him, so a huge thanks to him as well. Massive thanks to everyone over at our Colorado Avalanche, the best hockey subreddit there is. That is where I do a lot of my streamables work, as well as on Twitter, so you can find full game threads of my stuff over there. And also a huge thank out to everyone at at Burgundy Rainbow, the staff, and all of the members. You all are an absolutely amazing community as well, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work with a bunch of those people and create content on that site. Finally, a thank you to you. Whether you're a person who watches every single one of my videos as soon as they're up, or if this is the first video of mine that you've ever watched. A big thank you for supporting me either way, and even if you don't like the content, thank you for being out there and at least giving it a look. As of right now, the channel is at nearly 800 subscribers, and I'm at nearly 1,400 Twitter followers, so this is much further than I ever thought that this would go. And beyond that, this year I also open up pathways to support me financially through Patreon or PayPal, and when I opened them, I honestly didn't expect hardly anyone to jump on either, and in the end, so many of you have. I can't even believe how many of you have supported me, and to every single one of you who have taken some of your own hard-earned money and thrown it my way, I don't even know what to say. You're all absolutely amazing. I really do appreciate it. And with all of your help, we have plenty of content still planned for this offseason. We have season reviews for nearly every player in the Avs organization. We have that trade tree video, which still exists, I promise. I will finish it eventually. And we have plenty of other content, whether it be draft related, training camp related, or rookie related as well. So we've got a full load of content to keep us busy until next season comes. One last time, thank you so much. I'm Rudo3, and go Avs go.
Avalanche time, come on, grab your friends. We're going to the playoffs again with Nate